Hello there and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be telling you all about my industrial piercing. I'm sorry, I know you probably can't see it that well, and because I insisted on putting my hair down, my hair's all got caught up in there. But this is what it looks like. So this is called an industrial piercing if you're not familiar with them, or if you are familiar with them, welcome to my industrial piercing. So an industrial piercing is basically two individual piercings, and then you've got one piece of jewellery, usually it's a bar, that just goes straight through both the holes, and then you just attach like little balls to keep it secure and in place. I actually got this piercing done around 6 months ago now, and I've been wanting to make a video on it for a while, but I wanted to give it enough time to kind of fully heal. Just thought it probably is best just to give it a bit of time to kind of settle down, get itself situated, you know, in my ear before doing like a video on it. Out of all the piercings that I've ever had and have, the industrial has definitely been the most kind of high maintenance, just the most kind of fragile, difficult. Like it's been a mess, like literally. So I got the piercing done at Be Tattooed, which is a piercing and tattoo shop in Stockport. I highly recommend them. They do have an Instagram page, and the guy who did my piercing was Danger Matt. He's very experienced. He was supremely friendly, very professional. So I would highly recommend him, and also the shop in general is a really nice shop. So you know, anyway, I definitely recommend them. And nothing that I'm about to say about my piercing is any reflection of him. I just feel like the industrial piercing is in general a very difficult piercing. I think the reason why it is so tricky is because you have got two separate holes, but because you've got that one piece of jewellery going through like both holes, if you bang one side, it's going to also affect the other side, if that makes sense. So say if I like bang this, or more accurately, if one of the boys like headbutts me, it's going to also kind of jar, you know, the top hole and vice versa. So it definitely, like, having two holes ups the ante. Oh my gosh, like, why am I laughing? I'm so juvenile. So before actually going in and getting this pierced, I did do a lot of research. I watched videos and I read a lot of information online about other people's experiences. There were two main things that I got from that research. Number one, everybody was saying it was one of the most painful piercings, particularly the top hole, which is a kind of a piercing through cartilage. And two, they take so long to heal. People say up to a year, and I would definitely agree with that. Like, I feel like at the moment the piercing I feel like it's pretending to be healed, is what I feel, because there have been times before now that I've thought, oh my gosh, it's finally healing, and then all of a sudden it'll go swollen and red. And I've actually had a load more trouble with the bottom piercing as opposed to the top one. And I feel like as well, it doesn't help having two young kids who are constantly, which is sad, like, this is making it sound really bad, like, it's lovely, they're constantly wanting to come and hug me and stuff, but obviously, like, they headbutt you sometimes, and there's a lot of action going on around my ears, is what I'm trying to say. I feel like that's probably not helped with the healing process. The bottom hole is definitely the one that I've had problems with. When I say problems, I mean like minor infections. So for a while I had like a big bump on it, which is called I think it's a keloid bump. I will put the actual name here, but I definitely had that for 3 weeks or so, and in the end, I know this is probably not what you should do, but in the end I ended up just kind of picking it off because it would do my head in. That's not what you should do. But the actual piercing itself wasn't anywhere near as painful as I expected. Please keep in mind that everybody is so different when it comes to pain. People experience pain differently. So for me, I would definitely say that the bottom piercing was like a 2. I barely felt it. He did it and I was like, oh, is it done? So that one was like nothing really to me on the pain scale. The top hole, which is the one that I was bracing for, because when I was watching YouTube videos, watching people actually get it done, it always seemed to be the top hole that was the one that caused the most amount of pain. So I was kind of bracing myself for it. But again, it really wasn't that bad. And I think the thing as well with piercings is the pain only ever lasts for like a brief second and then it's done. When I got my tongue done, that was really painful. But again, it was only for like a brief second. And I would definitely say out of all the piercings I've had done, I've had my belly button done, I've had my tongue done, I've got my nose, I've got multiple ones in my ears. The most painful one by far was my tongue, and then probably my nose after that. So this was like the third most painful. And I'd say it was probably like 5 out of 10. What did surprise me, however, and other than like when I got my tongue pierced, I've never had any like longer term pain from any piercings. I did find that for a good week after getting the piercing, I did have like almost constant pain in my ear. So I was having to take like paracetamol to counteract that. And that's something that I didn't really expect. And like I said, I've not really experienced that other than the tongue piercing, which by the way, would not recommend a tongue piercing to anybody. If you'd like me to do a video on that, I will do. I had a horrific time with my fucking tongue piercing. It's been 6 months, and as I said, I don't feel like it's fully healed yet because I don't trust it. I feel like it's luring me into a false sense of security. I just feel like part of the reason why it's not healed maybe as quickly as it might do for other people is purely down to the fact that I've probably not taken good enough care of it, and I've had like the boys have knocked it. Look, I feel bad because I'm blaming everything on the boys, and that's not really fair. But when you've got young kids, like any parent will tell, or not even a parent, but an auntie, an uncle, just anyone who's been around kids will know they make sudden movements. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I feel like that's probably part of the reason why I've had such a hard time with it healing. I can't really think of any like major negatives to mention other than the healing time. I'd definitely say if you want to get an industrial piercing, don't be put off by the actual piercing because like really it's not that bad. You may get it done and think, oh my gosh, that's worse than childbirth or worse than a kick in the nuts. Like I don't think it's that bad, you know what I mean? I think if you really want to get a piercing done, just to have, even if you had like a 10 out of 10 on the pain scale, it would only last a split second anyway. So I think it'd be worth it, like YOLO. The actual piercing itself, not bad. Don't let that put you off. It's just, I think you've got to just accept the fact that you are probably going to be in for quite a long healing time. But all that being said, I'm super happy with it. I absolutely love it. I think it's a really kind of beautiful looking piercing, and I like the fact that it looks a little bit kind of industrial. I mean, it does. It just has a little bit of an edge to it. Like it's not a pretty dainty piercing. It's very much kind of like, I don't know, like edgy piercing. I don't really know, but it just, I don't know. I just feel like as far as piercings go, it's quite a substantial one and it means business. Do you know what I mean? Also, one other thing to mention, which I didn't know prior to getting it done, but my piercer did say that not everyone can get an industrial piercing. It depends on the space and the shape of your earlobe, because at first like he didn't think he would be able to do mine because I've got like tiny little earlobes, but then he kind of measured it up and he worked out, yes, we can do it. Also, another thing to mention, I know that some piercers will like do 2 separate piercings and put 2 separate studs in, and then after the piercings have healed they'll then go in and put the bar in. But my piercer said that that's not a method he uses or would recommend, because a lot of the time, even if you measure up where the holes are going to be so that they're perfectly lined for a bar to sit comfortably through them, he said that during the healing process sometimes the holes can not obviously move, but they can shift. I don't know what happens, but yeah, I'm coming for 2 secs. You're not able to actually get the bar in after they've healed, after they've fully healed, because the holes aren't in the exact same place they should be, which is why he prefers just to go in with the bar straight away, even though it's more risky and it does potentially lengthen the healing time. Anyway, so that is kind of all the info about my industrial piercing. I don't really have anything else to say other than always really kind of, you know, listen to what your piercer tells you about in terms of aftercare, because I definitely was not very good at, you know, applying saline solution, which is essentially salt mixed in with a little bit of warm water. You're meant to kind of apply that to the piercings a couple of times a day. I hold my hands up, like, I didn't do that. I did not. I need to be spanked on the ass, like right now. If you're wanting to get an industrial piercing, I would definitely research different piercers in your area. Go to one that has got good reviews or that's been recommended to you. Yeah, just go, get it done. Promise it won't be too bad, but just make sure that you're very aware that it will take a while to heal. Just follow all of the aftercare instructions that your piercer gives you, and I think you'll be fine. But anyway, so this is the industrial piercing. If you're interested in me telling you my horrific tale of my tongue piercing, I'll definitely do that for you. My favourite piercing by far is my nose piercing. I just love this piercing. I never want to take it out. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it's been somewhat informative to you, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye!